going on, guys? JD at JD's Custom Buggies. Just unloaded a couple of race machines. Unloaded my trailer from the house. So, like my Europe, these things have been pretty much sitting since last June. But I wanted to do a quick walk around on my niece's buggy. Some of you guys might find this interesting, especially if you own a like a Carbide or a Trailmaster or like a Hammerhead or a Carter, something with struts on it. So although I work on all these buggies, I don't get to drive them all that much. Maybe up and down the road at the shop when I work on them. But I did a little experiment on Kaelah's here, and I ended up having to race it last June. And it's the first time I've had to race a strut buggy for an Mbx event, and I was pretty impressed. Like I said, other than going up and down the road in front of the shop, you know, jetting it and stuff like that, I really hadn't had the opportunity to ride it. So gonna do a quick little walk just to kind of show you what's up. I think you guys will find the suspension on this a little interesting, especially right now if you're running stock stuff. So, and I know there are a lot of complaints about the ride on some of these strut buggies. So turn the camera around and we'll show you what's going on. So basically, it started as a stock Trailmaster Xrs. We gave to my niece. Actually, Kaelah is my niece. This is the number 13 of Kaelah White. So, like all of the other Mbx buggies for the most part, it's running a tire wheel combination. It's got 10-inch wheels front and rear, 22-inch tires in the front and 20-inch tires in the rear. Now, as far as the suspension, what I wanted to do was any help I could give this thing, you know, possible. So what I did was I ordered a set of arms and tie rod sleeves from a Blazer, the Trailmaster Blazer, which they use a longer arm. Also, a machine that uses pretty much the same arms is like the Hammerhead Platinum. So our upper and lower arms are a lot longer than the stockers. So this widens the stance. Well, that gave me a little room to cram a longer shock in there. So what I decided to do was order 4 Yamaha blaster shocks on eBay that I could find in good condition. And from there, the front mounts were pretty much the tougher one to finagle and get in there. So the bottom mount, not my best work because this is all done in between races. So at this point, it just needs to function. But I welded a little bit of a cross member under the arm, and the stock mount hole is here. And why I use that is I drilled a hole and took 2 pieces of angle, it's kind of make a plate, and drilled a hole so I could bolt it to the stock mount. So I made sure that all my lengths were the same. I wanted them both the same on both sides. So I ended up moving them inboard. You can see how close the bottom mount is to the ball joint. I want to move them inboard so it actually had some leverage to articulate the shock. And then what I needed to do for the top mount, and most of these buggies are set up the same as far as your mounts, there is a cross member that is right about here that has the shock mount. So you can see how much longer this shock is. Plus this shock is a little fatter. I wanted to basically get an angle where I could tuck this, get as much lean on the shock as possible. So what I ended up doing is I bent these bars here, and I cut out the center here so I could lean the shock in to where the old shock mount was, and then bent this bar here and tied it in over here. Okay, and then basically made a new shock mount. So not only is the shock leaned in a little more, but the stock shock mount is definitely higher. My finger is where the stocker was. Definitely higher than where the old one was. So here's the other view of it from the inside, so you can kind of see. I drove this buggy. These bars didn't interfere with my knee or anything. I was kind of worried about that when I installed them, but I never touched it. So yeah, in my book, success. Like I said, this thing was plush. When I hit jumps, it landed level on all fours. These shocks work great on this buggy. It's just a matter of getting them to fit. And the other issue is that, of course, the Blaster shocks, they have a wider mount than most shocks, especially the ones that come stock on the buggy. So whatever shock mounts you do or fabricate or whatever, you have to widen them out. On the rear, basically what I did was I lopped off half of the top mount, made my own top mount. So basically took a piece of flat stock, made a tab, drilled a hole, and then put it in a vise and bent it a little bit so it would reach in towards the bar. And then over here, basically, again, stock mount, just with a wider. I actually, I cut off the mount and then basically re-welded the same mount, a little, just so it'd be wider. Like I said, we were in a rush. What's kind of nice, and I don't know if you could tell, but there's no springiness. It comes up and rebounds nice. Very soft, very plush, very cool. Real quick, other things that's going on is we got our slide carb kit in here. So, our slide rod throttle kit, that's installed. Of course, we got our Mikuni carburetor running in a performance CDI and coil, velocity stack and filter, and one of our exhaust pipes. None of these exhaust pipes on the race buggies, because I'm constantly experimenting, especially if they're in my stable. So none of these pipes look exactly like what I end up selling. Till when I hit on something that works a little better, then of course that translates into what you get what you're buying off the site. As soon as I hit on something that's an improvement, I basically add that to the equation on the pipes. Of course, with the race pipes, I try and go a little bit longer. Plus, they're here, so I can fabricate them on the spot here on the machine. Try to make them as long as possible. I just feel that the longer the unit is, or the more length I can get out of a pipe, of course, the better it is. Of course, I have to play it safe when I'm shipping someone a pipe, so I want to make sure that it's going to fit. The last thing I want to do is ship something that doesn't come close to fitting, hits the swing arm or something like that. So that's basically the gist of it. But she's a mean little buggy, and like I said, for a strut buggy, she does exceptionally well. So just a quick little vid. I don't think I've ever shared that before. I've told people about it, and they've asked me what I meant and how did I change the shock mounts, but that's basically what I did. And get an idea of nice and good rebound. You can hear you can hear the shock actually hissing and working. So the arm kits are going to be available. I'm putting together an arm kit now. Somebody wants to widen the front end under the strut buggy. Speaking to the manufacturer where I'm getting them from, it looks like the kit's going to be $200, and that's a completely set up arm with bushings and sleeves and everything. So you basically, because they charge for every little piece and part, every sleeve and O-ring and everything in these arms are a different part number, and the arms, when you order them, they don't come with these bushings or whatnot. So after piecing together all the parts that we need with the sleeves and everything else, it's going to be right around somewhere between the 190 to 200 mark. So, and that should be available on the site. I plan on getting that up very, very soon as a front end widening kit. And then once the kit's a little wider, then that might broaden your options, especially some of you guys who can fabricate and weld. That might broaden your options as far as shock mounting. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. As always, appreciate it. And if of course, as always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Feel free to leave any comments, questions, or whatnot. I will do my best to answer all questions. If you need parts, go to gotbuggies.com, and at 500 subscribers, we're going to give away a full CVT system, performance CVT system, with a OCO variator, OCO clutch, a Banjing bell and drive face, Gates Premium belt, SSPG, torque spring, and shim kit for your variator. So this should get you all tuned up, and you'll be race ready, even if you're just playing on the trails. So hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.